Nothing quite like a Saturday night sandstorm in Columbia. You would never know by looking at it. This team is 1-2, trying to get back to winning ways tonight against Charlotte. It'll be the Gamecocks that start with the football. Leggett tripped up shy of the 20, flew forward, and that is where Spencer Rattler of this South Carolina offense will begin tonight. Rattler yet to find his footing 3 games into his Gamecocks tenure. Really struggled to start games. Only 3 first quarter points in the first 3 games this season. An opportunity to change that on this opening drive. He's got Marshawn Lloyd in the backfield. He gets the first carry of the game, right up the middle, running strong, gain of 9.
And that's what you want to see from your offensive line early in the ball game. Low pads, get that second foot down, and fire off the football.
Up tempo to start this game. Right back to Lloyd, who picks up the first down. It's interesting with the run game for us. This is a South Carolina team that's yet to have an 100-yard rushing game so far. Tonight might be the night.
Well, that's the challenge to the offensive line. Can you get your fits? Can you be where you're supposed to be? And for the backs, you've got to follow their lead. When you see a seam, you've got to hit that seam, north and south.
Right back to Lloyd. He's taken all 3 carries. Couldn't break free there. Tripped up by the former Gamecock, Derek Boykins. Redshirt sophomore, started his college career right here at South Carolina, transferred after his freshman season.
And a good job by Lloyd. He tried to cut off the block of Nate Atkins. Nate Atkins, number 44, did a good job of picking up that linebacker. That's what you need to see from your running backs, recognition.
Lloyd, huge hole, sheds a tackler into enemy territory inside the 30. Marshawn Lloyd shot out of a cannon to start this game, gain of 36.
And this is what the coaching staff talked about. They wanted to get a quick start. They wanted to get an early start. We talked earlier about only 3 points scored in the first quarter of all of their ball games. And you see Lloyd, you see the potential. He's in the 2nd year after rehabbing that knee, and you see the explosiveness.
Quick hitter, first pass of the night. Goes out to Jaheim Bell, very dangerous player. You'll see him lined up all over the field. And
Jaheim Bell is a player that I'd like to see them get the football to more often. When he's in the open space, he's tough to bring down. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's too big for defensive backs, and he's too fast for linebackers.
Injured player down on the field. Spencer Rattler in South Carolina knocking on the doorstep of the red zone. We'll step aside. Second and 3. First carry of the game for Juju McDowell. Chest tackled at that line to gain, but it does take South Carolina into the red zone for the first time tonight. This is a team that's yet to score a first quarter touchdown through 3 games this season. Great opportunity to do it here. 3rd and 1. McDowell again powers forward for the first down.
And one of the things when you run this fast-paced offense, you prevent the defense from getting substitutions into the ball game. We know that South Carolina comes into this ball game with some injuries on that offensive line, so they're doing a good job of getting their fits and getting their plays in and running, getting the ball up the field. When you have a quarterback that's struggling, you want to get that run game established. That'll open up some of those outside passes.
Right back to Lloyd with a burst of speed, breaks a couple of tackles, surges inside the 5. Another first down for Marshawn Lloyd, gain of 11.
And for an offensive lineman, when you're in the red zone, this is when you have to have a flat back when you're firing off, and you have to get that second foot down. That second foot down is when you're supposed to make contact. You have to keep a wide base. You basically want to bear crawl. You want to uproot these defensive linemen. Think of the sled work that these offensive linemen do weekly. That is what you want to see from them firing off the football.
First and goal. Right back to Lloyd. Running behind that offensive line, churning the legs forward already down to the 2. 70 yards on the ground in this opening drive. They've yet to have 100 on the season.
And what's interesting, you have not seen Rattler pass the football yet.
8 carries on this drive, sets up a second and goal from the 2. 3 options behind Rattler in the backfield. Shaheem Bell's one of them. 6'3", 230. There's a timeout taken by Charlotte. Will Healy with this Charlotte defense on the back foot early. Trying to keep South Carolina out of the end zone. We're just getting started in Columbia. Slow starts have really plagued South Carolina this season. They've been outscored 21-3 in the first quarter through 3 games this year. But on this opening drive, Forrest, they've taken it 9 plays, 8 of those on the ground for 70 yards, and they've got a second and goal from the 2.
And I stand corrected when I said he did not pass the ball yet. It was a short pass, but it was more so of an extension of that run game.
Marshawn Lloyd, he's been the go-to guy. Gets it here, but runs into a wall. Great penetration. Derek Boykins, the former Gamecock, his second tackle of this first quarter, sets up a 3rd and goal.
And a good job by Boykins to navigate through the traffic and find the football and wrap up the back.
Lloyd stays in the backfield. Critical 3rd and goal for Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. Rattler kept it. In trouble. Throws incomplete. No flags. 4th down upcoming. So after a terrific opening drive where seemingly they got everything they wanted offensively, now a decision to be made on this 4th and goal. Do you take the 3 points or go for it?
I think right now they want to go for it. You want to get some confidence going. And I thought Rattler had the tight end on the back end, on the backside of that play, but he had immediate pressure in his face.
Spencer Rattler in South Carolina looking for their first quarter touchdown of the season. Charlotte trying to keep him out of the end zone. Quick hitter, it's dropped. There's flags down at the 10-yard line. Juice Wells could not hang on. Let's get the first flag of the night. Will Healy's fired up. Charlotte's head coach, the passion, the enthusiasm the 4th-year head coach is showing. You'll see that all night long. The false start penalty actually bails South Carolina out because that was a dropped football. Would have been turnover on downs.
Well, I think he heard the whistle, so he stopped playing. But the offensive line, you cannot jump off sides. You know the snap count. Those are mental mistakes that you cannot make.
25-yard field goal attempt. Mitch Jeter puts it right through to open the scoring. Well, South Carolina first to draw blood tonight with a field goal, but for as successful as that drive looked, they marched right down the field and could not punch it in. That's what's plagued them.
Well, it was an interesting play call on 3rd down. They sprinted Rattler out to the boundary side, the short side of the field, so he did not have much to work with, and he had immediate pressure by Nate Atkins. And so I'm trying to get the ball to Nate Atkins, but the thing about it is I think you sprint him out to the wide side, the field side, you give him more time to operate, more time to look down the field, go through progressions, and try and find the receiver. Sprinting him to that boundary side, there was only a short amount of space for him to operate. And that with that immediate pressure, he had to get rid of the football, I think, before he wanted to.
12-play, 72-yard drive that stalled out from the 2-yard line. They had 3 opportunities to put it in from the 2-yard line, failed to do so, settled for 3 points. This home fan base and all Gamecock fans watching at home, they know how badly this team needed a strong start. They dug themselves holes in every first half they've played this season.
But I thought they did a real good job establishing the rushing attack early in this football game. It's going to be interesting to see what adjustments the Charlotte defense makes when they come back on the football field.
Dangerous return man, Chadrick Bird, nowhere to run, and a flag coming in. That holding call will back Charlotte inside their own 10 to start the drive. So here comes the Charlotte offense led by quarterback Chris Reynolds. What a story this kid is. From a 7th-string walk-on to a 3-time captain, Reynolds the clear leader of this team, coming off a 400-yard, 5-touchdown game last week.
Chris Reynolds is the definition of a competitor.
Hello?
Completes the first pass of the night. Grant Dubose, who caught the game-winning touchdown a week ago at Georgia State. It's worth noting, they do have a common opponent, South Carolina and Charlotte, and it is that Georgia State team. Charlotte got their first win against Georgia State last week. They put up more points, 42, than South Carolina did against that same team week 1.
And what you see early from this South Carolina defense is a lot of pre-snap movement, and I think we'll see that throughout the evening. You want to make Chris Reynolds think. You want to make the offensive linemen think. You want their pre-snap reads to be off.
Reynolds pulled it back, completes his second pass. Elijah Spencer, the South Carolina native who grew up 30 minutes away, went to Dutch Fork High School, moves the chains again, gain of 11.
And Reynolds is very calm. He knows where he wants to go with the football. They're doing a good job on the offensive line, picking up the blitz. You see Reynolds, he knows where he's going with the football. He gets the ball fake, and he puts the ball where only his receiver can make a play on it.
Reynolds, a 24-year-old kid. He's been in college for 6 years. He started at least one game for Charlotte in each of those 6 seasons. A 3-time captain, doesn't have the metrics at only 5'11" and 200 pounds, but you said it, Forrest. He's a gamer, a competitor, and he's 3 for 3 to start Charlotte's opening drive offensively.
And he has this calm demeanor about him. And when you're a quarterback and you have a calm demeanor, that translates to your offensive line, to your skill players. They follow your lead, and you see him. He knows where he wants to go with the football. He knows what he wants to do. You see him talking to his offensive lineman. You see the calm demeanor. You see how it's a reflection of what we see on offense from the Charlotte Ball Club early.
First run of the game, Chadrick Bird tried to spin out of the tackle, drilled on the spin. Nicky Manwuri made sure that Bird was not going to pick up that first down. 3rd and 1 upcoming.
But they got good movement in the middle of that offensive line. Between the guards, they've got good movement. Let's see if they can run through the gut of this defense. Can the South Carolina defensive line tighten up and hold at the point of attack?
McEachern in the backfield with Chadrick Bird. One on each hip of Reynolds. A 3rd and 1. South Carolina's defense trying to get off the field. Play clock down to 3. Bird turning the corner, has the first down and more into South Carolina territory. Chadrick Bird, the transfer from Iowa, takes it for 14 on a 3rd and 1.
And coming into this ball game, I think the South Carolina defense has some concern with holding the edge. You see right here, Burt is able to get to the outside. He takes a jab step inside, and once he gets to the edge, he's able to plant that foot and get north and south. The South Carolina defenders need to do a better job of holding that edge and keeping contained. You cannot allow those backs to get outside of the tackle box, because once they do, they can plant and get north and south.
Speaking with South Carolina defensive coordinator Clayton White this week, he said it's hard to game plan when you don't know who you have. South Carolina was missing 7 defensive starters in that game against Georgia a week ago. So it all starts with a guessing game. Who's going to be on the field? They've already lost 2 defensive starters for the rest of the season. And 2 of the vocal leaders of this defense, Shane Beamer, took his players aside, especially the veterans like Sherrod Greene, a 60-year senior, and said, this is your defense now. You have to own this and step up. We need you. South Carolina loading the box. Reynolds an empty backfield. Reynolds under pressure, throws it away. It was Cooper Edmond who shot in there. South Carolina wants an intentional grounding. Reynolds is saying, no, there was somebody over there. But it was clear he was just trying to get rid of that football.
Well, you see what they're doing. They showed 6 at the line of scrimmage. They only rushed 4. They dropped 2 back. As an offensive lineman, once again, you've got to figure out your pre-snap read. So what this South Carolina defense is doing, they're trying to confuse Reynolds, and they're trying to confuse the offensive line to see if they can get a free pass rusher.
Charlotte needs to get the ball to the 36-yard line to keep this drive alive. 1 for 1 on 3rd down tonight. Quick hitter, wide open. McEachern has the first down on a 3rd and 10. Great read by Chris Reynolds to pick out McEachern, gain a 17 to keep the drive alive.
And they showed the blitz, and they brought it that time, and Chris Reynolds went right where the blitz came from. Usually when there's a blitz, that's where the open spot is. You see Reynolds, he knows exactly where he wants to go at the football. Down the field, he saw the blitz coming, and he went to McEachern. Edmonds showed him that he was coming up the field, and he was able to play off of Edmonds' pass rush.
You have a sold-out Williams-Brice Stadium screaming at you. Everybody on their feet, loud and proud here in Columbia. And Reynolds with a great read, calm under pressure to convert the 3rd down. Quick pass again. This time out to the tight end, Taylor Thompson. Could not turn the corner, but still picked up 6.
And Sherrod Greene did a good job of covering Thompson, not allowing Thompson to get up the field to get more positive yards. A lot of times you see linebackers get caught up in everything that's going on, and they're not able to get out to the flat when you get the ball to a playmaker out on the edge. But a good job by Greene on that play.
10th play of what's been an impressive opening drive for Charlotte offensively. Reynolds, play action, takes a shot, incomplete. Tried to pick out Victor Tucker's favorite target. The freshman DQ Smith got over to bat it down. Great coverage from the true freshman safety.
And DQ Smith was all over that play. He read Reynolds' eyes. He did a good job of stepping in front of you. Saw him. He's mad at himself because he knows he had an opportunity to get an interception on that play. He just needed to squeeze the football.
South Carolina's defense has failed to get off the field on 3rd down. Charlotte 2 for 2 on 3rd down on this opening drive. Reynolds fires. It's caught for the first down and more inside the 10, pushing the pile all the way to the 5. Nolan Gruel Gain of 17, and once again, Chris Reynolds makes the right play on a critical third down.
It's a great play call. They know the blitz is coming. They throw the screen pass. You've got offensive linemen out to lead the way. A great job, a great play call, and great execution by the Charlotte offense.
Chris Reynolds showed up to Charlotte as the 7th-string walk-on. Now in his 6th season, a 3-time captain, playing South Carolina at a sold-out stadium under the lights, trying to punch in the opening touchdown. He's 6 of 9 through the air on this drive. This time they go to the ground game with Byrd. No room to run. The whole gain of 3 brings up 2nd and goal.
And in the red zone, the offensive lineman, you've got to pick it up, put it down. You've got to fire off with a flat back. You've got to be the first to make contact. You've got to be the low man.
Reynolds to the end zone, incomplete. Flag comes in. Looking for the South Carolina native Elijah Spencer. Cam Smith draped all over him.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 9. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
So a 1st and goal now from the 2-yard line after the penalty. Shane Beamer does not like that.
And that's one of those plays where sometimes the officials let it go. But Cam Smith came over the back. He came through the receiver as opposed to trying to play the football.
Reynolds escapes the pocket, slings it to the end zone. Touchdown, Charlotte! Jay Clemens. And this 49ers team on the road just went 13 plays, 90 yards down the field to take the lead.
And that play was made by Chris Reynolds. You see him extend the play. He doesn't see what he likes early. He gets to the outside, and when he sees a receiver cutting across, he's able to deliver the ball to get the touchdown. But that is the veteran leadership of a Chris Reynolds, understanding the play is not over if you don't get what you initially want. He extended that play and allowed his receiver to get open.
The extra points through. Will Healy's team in Charlotte, a week ago they were 20-point underdogs against Georgia State, 20-point dogs again. They've got the lead. Well, the big point of emphasis this week, talking with South Carolina's coaching staff, was sustaining drives offensively. Well, Charlotte took the South Carolina playbook. They went 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions, 13 plays, 90 yards, 7 minutes off the clock. The quarterback, Chris Reynolds, looks like a 3-time captain out there. Calm, cool, collected. And just like that, Charlotte's out in front, 7-3 with just under 3 minutes left to this opening quarter.
Well, what I like about what Chris Reynolds did on that touchdown pass is he did not try to force it. Sometimes you see young quarterbacks, if they don't see what they like, they try to force it and make a special play. He sprinted to the outside. He gave his offense more opportunity. He gave his receivers on the back end an opportunity to get open, and he found an open receiver. That's what you want to see from your veteran quarterback.
And how deflating for South Carolina after you have a drive stall out inside the 5-yard line to allow a 90-yard touchdown drive going the other way. It'll be Gamecocks ball. Spencer Rattler back on the field when we come back. South Carolina, slow starts have plagued this Gamecocks team all season, and Will Healy's team, Charlotte, has come in and got a first quarter lead. 7-3, Spencer Rattler and South Carolina's offense back on the field starting from their own 25. Marshawn Lloyd was the go-to guy on that opening drive. He takes the first carry for 6 yards. It's funny, South Carolina already has their season average for rushing yards, now up to 76 yards in the game.
And I like what they're doing. They're going 2 tights, and they're just lining up and they're going right at this Charlotte defense.
The problem is you rushed the ball so well on that opening drive, it couldn't punch it in. Settled for a field goal. Can they reach pay dirt on this drive? Here's Lloyd, breaks a tackle into Charlotte territory. Marshawn Lloyd feasting. Gain of 22.
And it's a tale of two cities right now. You've got a Charlotte offense that the South Carolina defense can't stop from passing, and you've got a South Carolina offense that the Charlotte defense can't stop from running the football. Lloyd is doing a good job of getting to the second level defenders and making them make the tackle. What you see with Lloyd is you've got a thump, you've got a wrap, and you've got a tackle. You can't just stick your arm out there.
Lloyd already a career high 92 yards. Rattler keeps this one, surveys the field, takes his shot. Did he hang on? Yes, great catch. What a grab. Josh Vann, gain of 18.
And you saw Vann run the comeback route. Rattler wasn't ready to release the football. Vann got to the outside. Rattler got the football out, and Vann did a good job of squeezing that football before he was pushed out of bounds.
They're going to review this catch. It was ruled on the field a completion. Take another look at this Josh Vann grab.
And that's definitely a catch. The question is, it looked like he squeezed the football. Did the ball move when he hit the ground? The ball he has to maintain control of the football when he hits the ground. The ball cannot move. From that angle, it looked like he was able to squeeze the football and maintain control as he hit the ground.
Certainly got the foot down. I think control is the question. We'll take another look. Rattler had all the time in the world on this throw.
Foot down. No.
No catch.
No catch.
This should be incomplete. Yeah, controls the question, and that ball clearly bounces.
Yes. He loses control as soon as he hits the ground. You have to complete the catch. And right there, he loses control of the football. Yes. And a good job by Wayne Jones fighting all the way through the catch and not giving up on the play. Because of that fight by Wayne Jones, number 5 from Charlotte, he's able to jostle that ball or jostle the receiver Vann to the point where he's not able to squeeze that football. Right there. Just that little bit of push.
After hitting the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be second down at the 47-yard line.
That's the right call. And credit the transfer from Kansas State, Wayne Jones, with the pass breakup. So 2nd and 10 now. Ball plays back to the Charlotte 47-yard line. South Carolina, they've got 1 minute and 25 seconds to score a touchdown, or else it'll be 4 games to start the season without a first quarter touchdown. Christian Beal-Smith in the backfield right now for the Gamecocks. Marshawn Lloyd out of the game right now. 9 carries, 92 yards. That's a career high for Lloyd already. We're just getting started. Beal-Smith on the carry, snuffed out. There's a flag that came in after the tackle. It was Boykins who made the stop.
Personal foul, hands to the face on the defense, number 0. That's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, South Carolina will take the first down any which way they can get it. Ball marked to the 31-yard line. Gamecocks. What would have been a 3rd and 5, now a 1st and 10.
And you see Coach Healy encouraging his defense to continue to try to hold at the point of attack. A good job on that play in the interior part of that defense. They showed jet sweep action on the South Carolina side, but the interior players of that defense held tight at the point of attack.
Beal-Smith gets the carry again, breaks a tackle. Rumbles forward for a gain of 6. South Carolina has been very conservative with the play calling today. They've run the ball 13 times, only attempted 3 passes.
And you have to wonder if that is because of some offensive linemen being out and wanting to protect their quarterback, but also you want to help build his confidence.
They've already got a season high 105 yards. Couldn't get anything going on the ground game there. Lloyd bruised up in the backfield. Gio Howard shot in off the edge to make the stop.
Once again, you've got good movement at the point of contact, but you've got Lloyd coming in. You know, he's trying to cut to the outside. A good job by the defender to get up in his face and not allow him to plant that foot. A good job by Howard.
That's the end of the first
That's
quarter.
what you want to do with these South Carolina running backs. You cannot allow them to get north and south and get up the field, and that was a good job on that play, getting up the field and making the tackle in the open field, because if he doesn't make that tackle, he's got a lot of space to run.
ESPN College Football is presented by delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Saturday night in the SEC, Forrest Connolly, Jay Alter, Tamara Brown with you. Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. How about a hurdle? Marshawn Lloyd into the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina. Marshawn Lloyd already a career high in rushing yards, and now he'll make SportsCenter tonight.
That was one of the most spectacular runs I've ever seen. I mean, he jumped all the way over the defender. The defender did not touch him. Defenders go down, they try to make a tackle low. You've got to keep your head up. When you put your head down, that is what happens. But the way that he was able to jump entirely over the defender and get to the end zone, what a special play. And this running game has gotten going for this South Carolina offense.
You're going to want to take another look at this. Marshawn Lloyd now over 100 yards rushing, 117 and a touchdown. We'll show you the hurdle when we come back. That could be number 1 on SportsCenter Top 10 tonight. The play of the year from Marshawn Lloyd goes airborne, hurdles over the defense for the touchdown.
Well, he showed you all the intangibles that you look for from a running back. Balance, his ability to stay balanced, explosion. When he jumps over the defender, you see the defender put his head down. You've got to get up and keep your head up. And defensive coaches always talk to back-end defenders about keeping their head up when they come up to make a tackle. And you saw what happened when he put his head down. He was able to jump over him and made what I think will be the play of the day.
What a night it's been for Marshawn Lloyd. His career high rushing coming into tonight, 55 yards. So he's more than doubled it in this first half, 117. And now a touchdown in spectacular fashion.
And I think what Coach Beamer and his staff have said for this ball game is we're going to come in here, we're going to play square chin, old school football. We're going to line up and run it down your throat. And what that also does is that keeps that defense, who's missing a lot of players, off the field to allow them to game plan and rest.
How will this defense respond after they gave up a 13-play, 90-yard drive? Chris Reynolds in trouble, backpedaling, slings it, and it's caught by the South Carolina native Elijah Spencer, his 3rd grab of the night.
And a pretty good job right now by the Charlotte offensive line. They're giving Reynolds time to look down the field. He didn't have what he wanted with the vertical pass game, so he went with the underneath route. But that's what you have to do as an offensive line. Continue to give your veteran quarterback time to find what he's looking for.
Reynolds, quick release, finds Spencer again. Back-to-back grabs for the sophomore out of Dutch Fork High School, about 30 minutes away from Columbia. Chris Reynolds, 3 for 3 on third down on that opening drive. What can he dial up on a 3rd and 1? Quick hitter to the flat. Victor Tucker picks up the first down, keeps the drive alive for a Charlotte team that is battling. It's been an emotional year for Will Healy and this 49ers program. This is the first football season that they're without the heart and soul of this team, Tamara.
Yes, the heart and soul of their team, Devin Kaiser, was introduced to the 49ers program in 2019 when he was battling leukemia in a local hospital. I asked Coach Healy about him, and he said his energy and smile, despite the battle that he was facing, really inspired this team and changed their perspective. He said that he embodied everything this program stands for, which is enthusiasm, energy, positivity, and passion. He said that this team embraced him. He was part of their family. They played Xbox with him. They went to visit him in the hospital. All right, Jay, I'm back. They went to visit him in the hospital, and they said he even took his first steps in the team room after he left the hospital in 2021. And I stand here right now next to his 49 jersey that the team dedicated to him. They've also wearing DK initials on the staff as well. And this year, Hulk hands will be given out to a player on the team following wins. This week after Georgia State, that was Chris Reynolds. He got the Hulk hands in his locker this week, and I asked him about it, and he said, getting those Hulk hands in my locker that embody the strength that Devin Kaiser had, it beats any accolade or honor that I will ever earn.
Thank you, Tamara. Not many coach conference meetings go like that with Will Healy. Just so open, so passionate about Devin Kaiser's story, and for good reason. There's Kaiser's number 49 hanging over on the Charlotte sideline proudly for the remainder of this season. And there's just far too many families like the Kaisers out there that share that pain. A timely opponent for Charlotte to play South Carolina this week because it's Curing Kids Cancer Week here in Columbia. Shane Beamer wearing his t-shirt at the press conference. So two programs intersecting off the field and then battling on it. Third and 3. Can Charlotte remain perfect on third down conversions? Yes, they can. Make it 5 for 5 on third down. Chris Reynolds, so calm.
And the offensive line, they're picking up the blitz. They're doing a really good job of looking and defining their pre-snap reads. And that's what you have to do when you're facing a South Carolina defense that's bringing pressure.
Reynolds taking a shot on first down. Victor Tucker draws the pass interference call.
And Marcellus Dial gave that away. He got up with his hands up in the air.
Tucker had him beat. That could have been a touchdown if he doesn't commit the penalty.
And it's actually a good penalty. Because like you said, Jay, if he doesn't grab him, I think he catches that football and it's going down the field for a touchdown.
Victor Tucker.
Pass interference on the defense, number 24.
He's got the third
Ball be
most
placed in spot
receiving
foul.
yards of any
First down.
active wide receiver in the country. He could have added to it here if not for the Marcellus Dial penalty. So Charlotte marches right back into South Carolina territory. 1st and 10 from the Gamecocks 40.
And
Spencer in motion. Reynolds completes his 12th pass of the night. Doesn't go anywhere though. Jay Clemens swallowed up.
does a poor job on the outside. You've got to get that block. If you get that block, you open up a lane for the receiver to get up the field. But a great job by the defender to get up the field, Debo Williams, and make that tackle.
Reynolds with pressure. Another flag in the South Carolina secondary. That's the third of the night. Cam Smith all over Elijah Spencer.
He's got his hand on his shoulder pad running down the field.
You're wondering what he's so confused
on
about?
The defense, number 9. The spot foul. Automatic first down.
And I think if the fans see the replay on the big board, they'll understand that was definitely a pass interference. But, you know, these defensive backs, they're panicking when the ball is in the air. And you don't need to panic. Just turn around and locate the football. If you're running to the receiver or you make contact with the receiver but you're trying to locate the football, the officials will let that go. They cannot panic and grab these receivers. But a lot of that has to do with the early success of this passing game by the Charlotte Ball Club and Chris Reynolds.
2 in the backfield with Chris Reynolds. Passing game has been most effective, though. 12 of 16 on the night. Tearing apart what's a banged-up secondary. Instead, they went to the run. That's not going to work out. Loss of 3. Debo Williams first to get there for the Gamecocks. I'd keep it through the air, Forrest.
Absolutely. Debo Williams shot that gap and made the play, and that's what you want to see from your linebackers. Don't allow the guards to get up to the second level and cover you up. You're the better athlete. Use your hips, get down in the crease, and make the tackle.
That was the first negative play of the night for Charlotte, who's been so effective and impressive offensively on the road here at Columbia tonight. Play action, Reynolds right on the money again. A first down inside the 15. Grant Dubose. Gain of 18 as Charlotte continues to prey on this very vulnerable South Carolina secondary.
And that's one of the most difficult routes to cover, a crossing route, because usually the defensive back is going to be in trail mode. A good job by Chris Reynolds leading his receiver, but not leading him too far into the safety that was waiting in the middle of the field.
And when Charlotte gets in the red zone, this team will make you pay. 11 of 13 on the season when they get inside their opponent's 20. And that's touchdowns. That's not just scoring. That is 92% on touchdowns. 10th play of the drive. Reynolds surveys the field, tipped and nearly intercepted. R.J. Roderick was diving towards the ball for South Carolina. McEachern could not hold on. It almost was a disaster for Charlotte.
And once again, a clean pocket for Chris Reynolds. South Carolina only brought 4 pass rushers. They had 7 back into coverage because of their success throwing the football. I think the South Carolina defense has to make a decision. They need to bring pressure because although you've got 7 back, the longer you allow those receivers to jailbreak and run, they will find an opening, and Chris Reynolds has shown an ability to find an open receiver.
Reynolds floats to Spencer. It's dropped again. Back-to-back drops for Charlotte. Hands getting shaky on the road in the red zone.
And a great inside move by Jordan Burks. The left tackle, Jackson Hughes, overset to the outside. Burks was able to come underneath and get immediate pressure on Chris Reynolds. Watch number 77. He oversets to the outside, giving up that inside move to Jordan Burks. Jordan Burks took 1 step upfield and got to the inside. That's why you have to sit down in your stance as an offensive tackle to be able to power step and redirect when the defender tries to go underneath.
Charlotte 5 for 5 on 3rd down tonight. Trying to keep this drive alive. Pressure coming. Reynolds off his back foot to the end zone. It's caught! Touchdown Charlotte! Victor Tucker! There's a flag down at the 4-yard line. But as it stands, 49ers strike again.
And probably more impressive than the throw was the fact that Reynolds stayed in the pocket knowing he was going to get hit.
Pass interference on the defense, number 27. That penalty is declined. The result of
Penalty
the play
against the
is a
defense.
touchdown.
It's a good touchdown for Charlotte.
Look at Reynolds. He sees the pressure coming. He knows he's going to get, but that last split second of waiting allowed him to put the ball out there where only his receiver could make a play on the football. A great job by Victor Tucker to squeeze that football. And DQ Smith, he could not get to him to try and make a play defensively.
What a catch for Victor Tucker. Chris Reynolds, Victor Tucker, 2 guys that are in their 6th season in this Charlotte program. They connect the cap off a 12-play, 81-yard drive. Chris Reynolds fires Charlotte in front on the road, 14-10. Kick off your Week 3 NFL Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the ESPN app. They'll have everything you need to know about every single game leading into Week 3 of the NFL season. Forrest Connolly, Jay Alter with you. It wasn't too long ago that we were talking about Spencer Rattler being an NFL #1 pick, Heisman frontrunner at Oklahoma. Transfers to South Carolina and about midway through game number 4 here. Not nearly midway, but they really haven't let him off the leash in this game. He's thrown for 5 interceptions coming into the night.
Well,
1 of 3 for 7 yards.
Well, that tells the story. He's only had 3 opportunities to pass the football. When you look across the field, Reynolds has passed the football 20 times already in this football game. So you have to wonder how this starts to affect Rattler psychologically. You know, does he feel that the offense has trust in him to throw the football?
And one of those quarterbacks is a 5'11" walk-on. The other, again, the #1 quarterback in the country coming in. We've got a ball on the ground. This could go from bad to worse for South Carolina. Leggett lost it. South Carolina at the bottom of the pile. There's a flag down at the 35-yard line as well.
And I think you've got to let Rattler play. One of the things I think, too, I want to see from Rattler is running the football a little bit. Rattler was the #1 dual-threat quarterback when he came out of high school. Allow him to sprint out. If he doesn't see anything he likes, get up the field with the running game.
Offside. Kicking team number 10. 5-yard penalty. Re-kick.
We're going to re-kick. And the good news is for South Carolina, even if they lost that fumble, it would have been negated because of the penalty. But back to the Rattler conversation.
It's about trust, Jay. And you know, you have to wonder, has there started to be some lack of trust from the offensive coaching staff? I mean, he was phenomenal at the University of Oklahoma. Like you said,
he got benched, though. How could you be phenomenal when you get benched?
Well, you got benched for a guy that ended up being in the top 5 of the Heisman voting. I mean, it was just another phenomenal player. But it wasn't like he was playing bad when he got benched. He was passing for over 70% clip. I mean, he was doing what you want your quarterback to do. There was just another guy that was extremely special that got into the ball game and took his job. I mean, but at the same time, I expect more from Rattler.
Let's put Oklahoma in the rearview mirror. This is South Carolina. This is game number 4, and yet the lights still really haven't gone on for Rattler in a Gamecocks uniform. Could this be the drive to ignite it all? Bobbled by Leggett. Now taken out, found some room. Bounces outside. The tackle just shy of the 40. This will be favorable field position for Spencer Rattler at South Carolina.
And Gio Howard, #4, made a great play to make that tackle because there were no other defenders to the outside. Watch #4, Gio White. You see right here, he gets off the block and gets his hands around him. That's what you want to do. You've got to make that play in the open field.
Play action. Rattler completes the pass on the run. Juice Wells makes the grab. Gain of 11.
That's how you get your quarterback's confidence. Sprint him out of the backfield. Give him more time to look down the field. Give more time for the play to develop. We know there's some offensive linemen that are out due to injury, so you've got to do little things like that to help your offense out.
Yeah, both tackles are out for South Carolina. Left tackle Jalen Nichols and right tackle Dylan Wainham. Both did not start this game, so without 2 tackles, maybe that's a reason why they've gone up the middle in the run game instead of airing it out. The run game's also been really effective, powerful, finishing run from Christian Beal-Smith. Takes it into Charlotte territory, gain of 16.
And you got to love the way Beal-Smith ended that run. He didn't go down. He didn't look to go out of bounds. He put his shoulder down and tried to go through the defender, Wayne Jones.
Quick hitter. Jalen Brooks makes one man miss. Picks up the first down, scooting up the sideline. His first catch of the night goes for 12. Marquise Watts, the defensive end, came over to make the stop. South Carolina, this is the best they've looked all night long offensively.
And you saw on that play, Valerian Agbaugh, he did not break down. He came from, you've got to break down, chop your feet, and make that tackle.
Rattler kept it himself, slides, and there's a lot of contact after the slide.
And when you slide feet first, you're giving up your body to defender. You're down as the quarterback, so that maybe should have been a penalty on that play because he made contact with it.
Take another look.
Once he's sliding, he's a defenseless player. I thought they could have called a penalty on that play.
It probably should have been. Instead, 4-yard gain for Beal Smith, who stayed in the game this drive.
And we hadn't talked about it a lot, but those offensive tackles being out, I think that forces the South Carolina team, the South Carolina offense, to focus on the run game because the tackles are the ones that protect the backside and the front side of the quarterback.
Rattler flips it to the tight end. Austin Stogner tripped up inside the 5. This is where South Carolina got on the opening drive of the game. Inside the 5, they had 3 opportunities to punch it in, settled for a field goal. Can they capitalize now? Rattler in trouble. Off his back foot, throws it through the back of the end zone, incomplete.
And one of the things I don't like about that, with the success they've had running the football, line up in the I formation, get Marshawn Lloyd in the football game, and let him do what he's been able to do all throughout the first half of this game, run through that Charlotte defense. You've got to challenge these offensive linemen. I understand you've got some people out, but they know how to play football. And the object of goal line offense is to find someone with another color jersey on and run over them and run through them. And that's what I want to see from this offensive line.
Marshawn Lloyd, no carries on this drive despite 117 yards and a touchdown tonight. 3rd and goal. Rattler to Bell, trying to power his way in, stopped shy. Great tackle by Marquise Watts to save a touchdown. And now what do you do here, Forrest?
I go for it. You've got to challenge your offensive line.
No
fire off
hesitation.
the football, get that second foot down, pick it up, put it down, and fire off.
Timeout Charlotte. Will Healy sprinted
Charlotte
down that
takes its
sideline.
second
His
timeout of the
defense
half.
trying to get set. A critical 4th and goal upcoming. South Carolina trailing by 4. 4th and goal, South Carolina going up over the top for the touchdown. Christian Beal Smith. Boy, did the Gamecocks need that one.
And I like the play call by South Carolina on that play. They lined Jaheim Bell in the backfield, and we know he's the Swiss Army knife player for this offense, so the defense had to react to him going to the outside, and a good job by Beal Smith to get up and over the offensive line and the defensive line to get the ball across the goal line to get that touchdown.
Cashing in on a 4th and goal. And for South Carolina, after that first drive of the game, stalled out inside the 5. If that happened again, the nerves would really start to pile up. Instead, a touchdown for Christian Beal Smith fires South Carolina in front, 17-14. Now the Giants are 2-0 for the first time in more than a decade. Cowboys coming into town after that thrilling win against the Bengals. They're meeting up in our Monday Night Football matchup. You can watch it on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, or the Manning Cast with Peyton and Eli over on ESPN 2. You mentioned Peyton and Eli Manning. Charlotte quarterback Chris Reynolds, he was a counselor at the Manning Passing Academy this past summer, worked side by side with Peyton and Eli. There he is with the 2 Hall of Famers. Full circle moment for Reynolds, who went to the Manning Passing Academy as a camper all the way back in 8th grade.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I know he got from the Mannings, and that's patience and demeanor, because you see how he responds on the field. He's been able to respond to the South Carolina offense when they've been successful, when he's gotten back on the field. Can he respond again?
Here's the thing for Chris Reynolds in Charlotte. from an offensive perspective, you've had 2 drives and 2 touchdowns. You've only had 2 opportunities, and you've cashed in for 7 points each time.
And once again, the Charlotte offensive line, they're giving him a clean pocket. I think the South Carolina defense has to make a decision. Are we going to sit back and try to prevent him from passing the football, or are we going to bring pressure and force him out the pocket and hope we can cover on the back end?
Look at those numbers. He's been terrific tonight. 14 of 20, 2 touchdowns. 8 of his 14 completions have gone for a first down. So it's not just dink and dunk stuff. He's been letting it rip against a banged-up South Carolina secondary. You start with the run game. McEachern found a hole, barrels past the 30. Right at the line to gain. I think they'll give him a first down, gain of 10. What would you like to see more of defensively for South Carolina, Forrest? Because they've looked out of sorts all night long.
Well, I want to see the linebackers walk up in the gaps, give the offensive linemen for Charlotte some pre-snap reads, make them think, make them use an extra split second to try and determine what they're going to see at the snap of the football. Right now, they're not showing any blitz. The Charlotte offensive line, they know where they want to go. They're getting good fits with their blocking scheme.
Pressure coming. Reynolds in trouble. Escapes it for now. And gets rid of it out of bounds. Even when South Carolina's breathing down his neck, he has the poise to make the right play in that moment.
But that was a good job by the South Carolina defenders. For the first time, it seems like they've been able to get pressure with only rushing 4 defenders. Those outside defenders were able to get up the field. Those offensive tackles for Charlotte have to do a better job of keeping their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage until you get to that 3rd kick step, which is the level of the quarterback. Then you can open up and push those defenders past him.
Bird trying to turn upfield, not going anywhere, swallowed up. Loss of 1.
And for Charlotte, you've got to run the north-south running game, the east-west running game. This South Carolina defense is too fast. They were able to get to the outside. They did not give him an opportunity to plant and get up the field. That's what you want to do for South Carolina. But for Charlotte, I think you continue to run between the guards. That's where you've had most of your success.
Will Healy's offense is 6 for 6 on 3rd down tonight, but this is their longest test, 3rd and 11. With a sold-out crowd screaming at him, Reynolds under pressure, flips it. Needing 11, they're gonna get it. What a pickup on 3rd down. Eugene Minter splits through the defense, gain of 12 to keep the drive alive.
And watch number 57, the center. He engages with the defender, and he's able to get out and lead the back. That's all you want. All he got was a shoulder on the defender, Devontae Reed, but that's the opening and the crease that the running back needed to get the first down. Impressive to get the initial block, then get to the outside and get out the field and get the lead block for the first down by Ashton Gist.
Outside of backyard football, Chris and Jack Reynolds never got to play on the same football team until Chris gained extra years of eligibility from injuries and COVID, so he was able to play with his younger brother, Jack. I asked him about that, and he said that Jack is the type of guy who was never afraid to play with the older kids. He would lay out for any football, even if it landed in a bush. So to be able to play with him now, especially with family being one of the most important things to him, and going into the locker room and seeing his own blood there every single day, it truly inspires him. And he said, look out, because I'm still looking forward to be able to throw my first pass to my little brother Jack.
Yeah, they've yet to connect. So Reynolds, Jack watching on. Actually, Chris has come out of the game for this play. It's Xavier Williams into the game, the backup quarterback on a 2nd and 2. Williams keeps it himself. Plows forward to pick up the first down, gain of 3. It's Tamara was just talking about the Reynolds family. Chris, from a 7-string walk-on to a 3-time captain in year number 6, leading this Charlotte offense with his younger brother Jack, who's just a redshirt freshman. Tamara alluded to it, but they've actually never completed a pass to each other, quarterback to wide receiver, in a live game. They've done it plenty of times in the backyard and in practice. Chris has just got too many targets in front of his little brother right now, and he's hit a lot of them tonight. He's thrown to 8 different receivers in this game, 15 of 22 through the air, and he's back into the game on a 1st and 10. Run game, nothing going. Chadrick Bird lit up by Gilbert Edmond on the edge. Forrest, I say this half joking, half serious. I would not run the ball again if I'm Charlotte. All the success has gone through the air. Every time they've run, there's been nothing going on.
Well, you've got some strong defenders, and I think South Carolina has the advantage at the point of attack in the run game. The passing game, that's where the big question is. Have they found a way, and they have not, to stop this Charlotte passing attack?
2nd and 13 after the loss of 3. Pressure coming. Reynolds somehow gets rid of it. It's bobbled and intercepted. DQ Smith, the true freshman, great hands to read that bobble. And that's the first turnover of the game. Victor Tucker could not hold on. South Carolina ball when we come back after the DQ Smith heroics. So while we've been away, the officials taking a long look at DQ Smith's interception. It was called an interception on the field. Here's what they're looking at. Bobbles off Victor Tucker, and did Smith get his hands underneath this football?
No, you see it drop.
Pops out.
Right there.
So this ball pops out. What would have been the first career interception for the young Columbia, South Carolina native DQ Smith. I mean, looks like this will be overturned. Shane Beamer can't believe it.
Well, it was a great effort, and I like the way he jumped up.
Little giveaway there with.
Well, I like the way he jumped up and
incomplete
acted
sign.
like he did squeeze the football. That's what you're supposed to do.
Take another look. Will they DQ the DQ Smith interception? That one bobble.
Well, from that angle, it looks like he was able to squeeze it, but from this angle, you see the ball clearly hit the ground. It goes through his hands and hits the ground. Right there.
He tried to pull it into the body, but I do think it.
Right
yeah,
there.
right there.
Right there.
Right there. Hits the grass.
But he deserves an Oscar because the way he got
Well, he
up
thought
and
it was his
reacted-
first
review.
career
The
interception.
ball touched the ground, so therefore it is not an interception. It'll be 3rd down at the 48-yard line. Game clock
Call
operator, please
overturned.
reset the game clock to 152.
But what was
please,
more
152.
interesting on that play is South Carolina was finally able to get through with the blitz. Brad Johnson, number 19, went untouched. And Chris Reynolds got up a little slow after that hit because he got a clean hit on Reynolds, and Reynolds was not able to turn over his arm on that throw, and the throw was behind the receiver.
Charlotte is 7 for 7 on 3rd down tonight. They've got to go 13 yards to keep the drive alive. South Carolina's defense has failed to get off the field. This could be a free play for Charlotte. It is. Reynolds spins out of pressure, throws deep, backpedaling and almost tipped into the hands of Elijah Spencer. Taylor Thompson got a hand on it, and then Spencer almost ran right into it.
Offside on the defense. Number 8.
And we're going to redo a
5-yard
3rd down
penalty.
because South
3rd down.
Carolina jumped. It's great IQ play for Chris Reynolds to take a deep shot knowing it's a freebie.
Well, you see his ability to extend the play. He saw the rush. He felt the rush. Right when the defender got to him, he was able to spin out and allow himself time to look downfield.
7 on the line for the Gamecocks. Pressure coming. Reynolds unloads a deep ball. Incomplete. And no flags.
And Reynolds is a little gimpy. They got another clean shot on Reynolds. They've found something defensively that has allowed them to get a free pass rusher on Reynolds, and he's taken 2 shots in the last 3 passing attempts. And you see him walking gingerly to the sideline right now. And we know he's had some issues with an upper body injury early in the season that prevented him from playing in some ball games and taking these shots from these defenders, and he's getting hit when he's exposed because he's passing the football. You have to wonder, is that starting to take an effect?
He was injured in the first quarter of the first game for Charlotte. They went 0-3 without him. Came back last week, looked terrific. Josh Van calls for the fair catch inside the 10, 37-yard punt. South Carolina's got all 3 timeouts at their disposal with a $1:29 left. Sunday NFL Countdown comes your way to start week 3 of the NFL season, 10 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN and the ESPN app. It's tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Don't want to miss it. Week 3 of the NFL season comes your way tomorrow. Forrest Connolly, Jay Alter with you. Great opportunity for Spencer Rattler in South Carolina to run the 2-minute drill here. 3 timeouts trying to add to this 3-point lead. They start from their own 5-yard line. Rattler throws incomplete. Off the hands of Juice Wells. Would have been a big play if he hung on.
And Rattler has to settle down. He put a little bit too much on that football. Take a little bit off. The danger right now with this offense, you know they're trying to pass the football with only 1:22 left. They have to be careful because you've got an opportunistic defense from Charlotte right now. They're going to jump some of these short routes. So Rattler has to be careful with the football.
He's thrown 5 interceptions on the season. Can't afford one right here. They go to the run game. Marshawn Lloyd, already a touchdown and a career high, takes it for a first down as we check in with Tamara on the sideline.
Yeah, after the Gamecock defense got that stop, Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator for USC, went over to the offense and said, guys, we need to play complementary football. The defense got to stop, so we need to go out and finish and score some points before the half.
Now they've got to do it in 1 minute and 15 seconds and more than 80 yards to cover. They do have 3 timeouts to work with. Charlotte sends 4. Rattler steps up, fires a strike to the tight end, Austin Stogner. Bounced out of bounds. Another first down, gain of 10.
And Charlotte's rushing 4, dropping 7 back into coverage. They're trying to keep everything in front of them. That's what you have to do. They're playing a prevent-type defense, but you cannot allow any of the South Carolina skill players to get on top of the defenders. The defense has to sit back. They have to keep everything in front of them.
There's Satterfield calling a 2-minute drill. Spencer Rattler, what a confidence boost this would be for him if successful. 67 seconds left in the half. Rattler steps up, takes a shot deep. It's caught. What a grab. Amarian Brown, his first catch of the night's a big one. 26 yards into Charlotte territory. Up-tempo offense. South Carolina does have 3 timeouts, elects not to use one though. The crowd urging Rattler to take the snap here as 10 seconds has run off the clock. And Rattler takes the sack. Amir Sadiq stormed in, a loss of 8.
South Carolina takes its first
And too much
timeout of the
time
half.
taken off the clock by
30
not
seconds
using one of
timeout.
those 3 timeouts. You've got timeouts, you've got to use them. You can't take them to the second half. You saw them kind of in a panic mode. They're trying to figure out how to get set up, pre-snap, take the timeout. Now you've not only lost time, but you've given up a sack and lost yards. And all of this was done with the 4-man pass rush, with 7 dropping back into coverage. You've got 5 to block 4. There are no excuses. I understand that you've got some backup offensive linemen, 2 backup tackles, but you've got 5 to block 4. There's no excuse for them to get pressure on Rattler and get him down for the sack.
Loss of 8 and more than 20 seconds off the clock after they picked up that first down and got into Charlotte territory. 33 seconds to work with. Pressure coming. Rattler passes over the blitz. Plenty of room to run. Jalen Brooks steps on the gas, then trips under his own 2 feet. Still fell forward. Gain of 40.
And Christian Bill Smith led the way down the field with 2 monster blocks. That's what you want to see on the outside. Watch
South
Christian
Carolina
Bill Smith, number 8.
takes
Boom!
charge timeout.
He is running through
30 seconds, timeout.
defensive players, and that's what you want to see from your offensive players down the field, blocking, helping their teammate get positive yards.
Shane Beamer uses that second timeout for South Carolina. Here's another look at the 40-yard play.
Watch number 8, Christian Bill Smith. You see him come in motion. Now watch here. Boom. Cleanup block. Down the field. Boom. That's exactly what you're looking for from your offensive players down the field, blocking and allowing the teammate to get around the edge and get positive yards. Great play by this South Carolina offense. Great teamwork. Getting down the field and getting those blocks and giving the receiver, Jalen Brooks, what he needed as far as space to get down the field.
Inside the red zone, can South Carolina cash in right before halftime? Rattler under pressure, rolls right, and just throws it away. Good pressure from Charlotte to force Rattler to just not take a shot at the end zone. That's something that Shane Beamer wants Rattler to work on, is step up in the pocket instead of always rolling right, which is his tendency.
Well, he did a good job right there. He climbed the pocket. He tried to find something downfield when he saw pressure from the offensive tackle, not allowing him to have the width that he needed. Then he sprinted to the outside.
12 seconds left to this first half. Charlotte's defense trying to stand tall. Rattler fires, it's caught, but inbounds. Shane Beamer has to use his final timeout, and he does. Beal Smith on the grab.
Final charge timeout, South Carolina.
Let's take our
30
Fayetteville
seconds,
College
timeout.
football update brought to you by Dr. Pepper. As South Carolina's field goal unit will run onto the field here to try and add 3 before the end of the first half. Fayetteville Dr. Pepper College football update. Kent State, I'll give them a lot of credit. They made life uncomfortable for Stetson Bennett. Georgia did enough to defeat Kent State, though, and then Tennessee takes care of Florida. What a game Clemson and Wake Forest was in double overtime, and more overtime in the SEC with Auburn beating Missouri. Mitch Jeter on for the 27-yard attempt. Trying to make this a 6-point game headed into halftime. There's a
Charlotte takes its final
timeout taken by Charlotte. Use it or lose it
30
for
second timeout.
Will Healy. I'll tell you what, every time we show the 4th-year head coach Will Healy, I don't know if it's the visor, the mannerisms. I'm taken back to the show Ted Lasso. Healy's athletic director actually coined the term. Last year he was quoted in an article. He goes, it's the passion, it's the energy, it's everything positive. And then you just see the mannerisms and you think it's Jason Sudeikis down on the sideline doing an impression. But that's what this program's built on. They've shown up and they have certainly believed they can win this game.
Well, what I like what Coach Healy said is he said, you know, I'm not trying to leave for a bigger program. I'm trying to make Charlotte a bigger program.
inches away, squeezed it right inside. Uncomfortable, but good. Still counts the same for Mitch Jeter. Caps off a 9-play, 85-yard drive at $1:27. How would you grade that 2-minute drill for South Carolina?
They got points. And at the end of the day, when you start deep in your own territory and you're able to get points, that's all that matters. Now, they would have preferred to have gotten 7 points because they were down in the red zone, but at the same time, you've got to get something. And I think you've got to focus on all of the positive, as opposed to finding something negative. I think the big question going into halftime is, will we see Rattler throw the football in the second half?
Well, after a slow start, only 3 passes attempted in that first quarter. He ends the first half 9 of 14. So they let him air it out a little more the second quarter.
But when you think about it, the majority of those throws were in that 2-minute drill.
True.
Where he had to throw the football because they didn't have time to run the football. So I think that's the big question. And you've got to think about the psyche of your quarterback as you get ready. You've got one more out-of-conference game before you get into the meat and potatoes of this SEC schedule before that Clemson game at the end of the season. You've got to think about how this affects your quarterback.
Charlotte will get the ball to start the third quarter. 2 teams that have traded punches in this first half. South Carolina trying to bounce back from back-to-back losses, getting tested by Chris Reynolds and this Charlotte team. It's Amaras with Shane Beamer.
Coach, it'd be helpful if I turned my mic on. It's been a dogfight this first half. What did you see so far from your team?
Love the way we're running the football right now. We got to get more stops defensively. Great stop by our defense right there at the end of the first half, but we got to get ourselves off the field. We've given up way too many 3rd and longs and whatnot, but like the way we're playing overall. This is a good football team. We knew they were going to make some plays. We got to get in here and figure out a good second half plan.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, that defense finally got a stop after Chris Reynolds and Charlotte scored back-to-back touchdowns. It allowed South Carolina to go into halftime with a 20-14 lead. You'll be in the studio for the half. We welcome you back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper. Forrest Connolly, Jay Alter with you, Tamara Brown down on the sideline. For anybody that thought that Charlotte would come in and lay over, they are sadly mistaken. South Carolina getting a big test here at home, trying to break a 2-game losing streak. It'll be Charlotte that starts with the ball, trailing by 6. Forrest, what stood out to you most about that first half?
Well, what stood out to me most is the running back, Marshawn Lloyd. He ran over, he ran away, he ran around. He did everything that you could ask for a running back to do for this South Carolina ball club. But one thing that I was interested in is the lack of passing by Rattler. But you see right here, over, around, and now away. He's done it all. But then Reynolds, he's been as advertised. He stays tall in the pocket. He delivers the ball where only his receiver can make a play on it. And he's very calm with his demeanor. You see him going through his reads. He breaks contain, gets to the outside, allows his receiver to break open and be a target for him. But then, you've got South Carolina coming back. They finally got their running attack going and was able to get over and get the touchdown in the red zone and going with the lead.
Reynolds plays like a 6th-year senior, a 3-time captain. He has not been afraid from this raucous, sold-out crowd at Williams-Brice Stadium. It's Saturday night in the SEC, and we've got a ball game on our hands in this second half.
And Jay, something that was interesting and stood out to me during the latter part of the second quarter, right before the half, the South Carolina defense found a way to get to Reynolds. They got some hits on him, and they got some hits on him where he was exposed after he threw the football, and we know he's had some upper body issues that made him miss a couple of ball games this season. So I want to watch for that because they found something defensively to get some contact on him. They haven't had a sack, but they've got 7 QB hurries, and those 2 hits to him being exposed when he threw the football, I think may come into play in the second half.
You know, for South Carolina, speaking with their coaching staff, especially head coach Shane Beamer, he said the sky isn't falling. You know, we've lost to 2 top 10 teams on the road to Arkansas and then at home last week to #1 Georgia. This was a get back on track game, and it is going to come down to this second half because the way Charlotte's playing with their quarterback Chris Reynolds, they're going to give them everything they can handle in this second half. Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Verbo. We're just talking about the #1 Georgia Bulldogs. Took care of business against Kent State 39-22. Alabama taking care of business 31-3 over Vanderbilt. Clemson was really tested on the road at Wake Forest, won in double overtime 51-45. At Arkansas trailing right now on the road in Texas A&M 20-14. If you're a Gamecocks fan, to see your 2 losses come against top 10 teams, you certainly can feel good about yourself. The question would be, if Charlotte trips you up here, then the sky would really start to fall. Again, we're far from that scenario, but a Charlotte team that's 1-3 on the season, you could argue played the better football in that first half, particularly at the quarterback position with Chris Reynolds. He had an outstanding first half, 15 of 24, 2 touchdowns, found 8 different receivers. Reynolds try to pump and go, down he goes. Gilbert Edmond, the first sack of the night. Loss of 9.
And the offensive tackle overset, and Gilbert Edmond
too.
did an inside spin and was able to get to the quarterback. You cannot overset.
Let's check in with Tamara down on the sideline.
Jay, I went over to Coach Healy before his team ran out for the half, and he said, "Do you see my black eye? I got a black eye when our team was celebrating for how well we played in the first half." He said, "Offensively, I think we're doing great. I think we're 1 or 2 drives away from being back into this game." And he said, "The defense, I like that we were able to stop them and force 2 field goals, but we are missing way too many tackles. We got to do better tackling this half."
The key for the offensive success was 3rd down conversions. They were 7 of 8 in the first half. They fail on this one, needed 16, didn't get nearly enough, only got 6. So a 3 and out for Will Healy's offense. It was very strong in that first half.
And I'm watching the body language right now of Chris Reynolds, and it's not very good.
He's taken a couple of big hits tonight. He missed the first 3 games of this season with an injury. And if they don't have him out there, they won't stand a chance against the South Carolina defense. It's feeling a lot more confident and comfortable than they looked in the first half. Bailey Rice, the 25-year-old punter out of Melbourne, Australia, runs into that one. Fair catch called for by Josh Vann at the 30-yard line, and that's where Spencer Rattler at South Carolina will take over when we come back. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. And South Carolina has contributed with 2 field goals tonight. In fact, for an offense that certainly was lackluster against #1 Georgia a week ago, they've had 4 drives. It's resulted in 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So they've gotten points for us every time Spencer Rattler and this offense has taken the field tonight. Here's Lloyd. There's a flag down in the backfield. Marshawn Lloyd doesn't care. Continues to break tackles. Goes for 20, but this one's likely coming back.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 90
No, it's
on
going
the
to stand.
defense.
Penalty goes against
15
Charlotte,
yard
so
penalty
add
from the
another
end of the
20
run.
yards
First
to
down.
Marshawn Lloyd's career night. He entered the game. 55 yards was his career high. He now has 148
Well, he's the type of back I call a TWT. You've got to thump him, you've got to wrap, you've got to tackle. You got to thump to let him know you're there. You've got to wrap him up. Then you've got to bring him down. You cannot stick your arm out there. He's too powerful of a runner.
Here's Bell on the end around. Jaheim Bell, another flag down. Bell takes it for 8. Shane Beamer told us we need to find a way to get Jaheim Bell the ball more. Only 5 catches, 3 games this season coming into the night. There's a Charlotte player down over on that far sideline. We'll step aside with the injured player. South Carolina driving with the ball, trying to add to this 6-point lead. Tomorrow night, Aaron Judge continues his chase for the American League home run record. Coverage starts with Sunday Night Baseball, 6 Eastern. Baseball Tonight gets you started. Michael K. A-Rod have their K-Rod cast over on ESPN2, just like the Manning cast on Monday Night Football. Aaron Judge, I looked it up before the game, 6'7", 280 pounds. He would have made for an elite tight end for us.
He is an exceptional athlete, and I mean, just everything about him. You know, my question to the Yankees is, you know, what are you going to do now?
Pay the man.
Yeah, I mean,
pay the man.
You got to pay him anything he wants at this point.
Just hand him a blank check.
Yes, just say, Aaron, tell us what you want.
Spencer Rattler backed up to a 1st and 20 after the holding penalty negated the Jaheim Bell carry. Rattler on the run, slings it outside. Jalen Brooks up the sideline, takes it for 15. Get the penalty yardage and then some back.
And you saw what Rattler did. He ran towards the line of scrimmage to influence the safety, Wayne Jones, to take that step up. And once Wayne Jones took that step up, he delivered the ball to his receiver to get down the field.
Quick hitter. First down and into the red zone. Amarian Brown takes it for 12. South Carolina continues to capitalize on very safe, easy to make throws.
Well, that's what you want to do when your quarterback's struggling and he's not getting the production that you expect from him. You want to give him safe throws, get the ball to your athletes in space, and allow them to be playmakers. It's all about confidence building right now for Spencer Rattler.
South Carolina scored points on every drive of the game. This is their 5th drive, 4th trip to the red zone. The only drive that didn't was because Marshawn Lloyd took it from the 25-yard line, hurdled over Charlotte into the end zone. I'm telling you, you're going to see that play on SportsCenter Top 10 later tonight. I'd go back to Lloyd. The guy's averaging 11.5 yards per carry. 11.5.
If it's not broke, don't try and fix it. You know, just keep giving him the football.
He's in the backfield with Rattler on a 2nd and 6. Lloyd gets the carry. Bulldozes! It scores! Marshawn Lloyd, a human wrecking ball, takes it for a South Carolina touchdown. There's a flag down at the 10-yard line, and 4 officials are huddled up.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. Marshawn Lloyd is a thump, wrap, tackle back. You've got to hit him. You've got to wrap him up, and you've got to bring him down. You can't just hit and think that he's going to fall down. He is a powerful back that runs behind his pads, and he keeps his feet moving.
After the play was over, there was unsportsmanlike conduct penalties against both teams. That penalty, correction, personal foul, UNR against both teams. Those penalties will cancel. The touchdown is good.
Touchdown's good. That's all that matters for Shane Beamer. Marshawn Lloyd, this night belongs to him.
And once again, you see him run through arm tackles and run away from defenders. Wayne Jones, number 5, had an opportunity, but you've got a thump, wrap and tackle, boom, right off of him, run over him. And then you see the power and the balance.
Going for it and scoring the 2-point conversion. Trayvon Kenyon.
And now these South Carolina runners are starting to feel themselves, and they're just overpowering this Charlotte defense.
Shane Beamer, the former special teams coach, loves that. For the special teams.
You see right here, he's just going to go over them. They have gone over, around, and through another dynamic play by a ball carrier from South Carolina.
Very unique formation. A lot of times you'll see teams line up like that and then okay, now we're going to come to a regular extra point. Instead, the hike of football scored.
And what they're looking for, the defense. They want to see if the defense reacts, and if the defense is not set up to defend a certain play, they run the play. And they saw the defense was not set up to defend that play, and he was not going to be denied. And I think that's what Coach Beamer and his staff want to see from their offensive players.
5 South Carolina drives have all resulted in points, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Bird on the return. The transfer from Iowa has failed to sneak free. Marked down to the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Tamara on the sideline.
With decades of coaching experience, half as a head coach and half as an assistant, you've probably tried numerous ways of teaching your position group. But Pete Lembo, he's known as the history buff. He uses pop culture and history to teach his special teams. Anything is fair game, from World War II to Snoop Dogg. I don't know about you, Jay and Forrest, but I'm not good with movies and histories. It's not my strong suit. So I might need a tutor for special teams, and I wonder, for that trick play that we just saw, what he used to relate to his guys.
It's a great question, Tamara. Whatever it was successful. Cashed in the 2-point conversion. South Carolina now doubling up Charlotte. Get the feeling that all the positivity, all the momentum that Charlotte created in that first half just sailed right out the window after a 3-and-out, and then South Carolina turns around and scores a touchdown.
Well, what I see right now is there's no movement by the offensive line in the run game, and they're trying to establish that run because South Carolina has been able to fire off and get some hits on Reynolds starting the second half and at the end of the first half, and they want to protect their quarterback. But you've got to get movement at the point of attack by the offensive line to get this running game going.
Pressure coming. Reynolds in trouble again. Finds Henry Rutledge. Weaving through traffic. Converts the first down, gain of 11. Brad Johnson on the stop for South Carolina. Feels like it's a Gamecocks defense that, despite allowing that first down, has grown into the game as it's evolved.
Well, they've been able to get pressure. What they've been able to do is their outside ends have been able to beat the offensive tackles around the edge, and you've got tackles that are oversetting, so they're beating them with the inside spin move. The tackles have to keep their feet moving. They have to be able to keep a wide enough base to be able to redirect and power step when those defensive ends make an inside move.
Pressure coming again. South Carolina dialing up the blitz packages. It's tipped and caught. Brad Johnson has it inside the 5. And it's all Gamecocks right now.
And a great job by Jordan Burch to get his hands up, number 5, and block that football. There was so much pressure on Chris Reynolds. They brought the blitz, and it looked like they picked it up, but Reynolds was flushed out of the pocket, and he's trying to throw off of his back foot, and you saw Birch, number 5, able to get his hands up and tip that ball, and that tip drill is what defenses practice every day, and you saw what happened right there. Brad Johnson, Johnny on the spot to get the interception.
They want more Sandstorm. Can Spencer Rattler and the offense cash in after the Brad Johnson interception? It'll be first and goal from the Charlotte 7-yard line.
And Jay, I handed to Marshawn Lynch. Excuse me, Marshawn.
I can see the confusion the way Lloyd's been playing
I know
today.
you want to call him Lynch because the way he's beast mode this evening.
Rattler kept it, throws incomplete. I'd give it to number 1. Marshawn
Yes.
Lloyd, 162 yards. He has now tripled
Yes.
his career high tonight. 2 touchdowns to go along with it. The man is averaging 11.6 yards per carry. If he scored a touchdown from 7 yards, it would lower his yards per carry.
And I handed to him 3 plays.
Lloyd gets it. Breaks another tackle, and he's in again! 3rd touchdown of the night for Marshawn Lloyd!
And as an offensive lineman, you appreciate a running back like Marshawn Lloyd, a guy that refuses to go down. You saw the ability to stop and cut. And watch the offensive lineman play. You see movement. You got guys getting to the second-level defenders, and you see them all running to congratulate him. But you see these interior linemen getting up to those linebackers, covering them up, and Marshawn Lloyd does the rest, overpowering the defender at the goal line to get the touchdown.
$169 yards on 15 carries, 3 touchdowns, and yeah, you can cue up Sandstorm for the 2nd time in a matter of minutes. Punishing runner.
And what I love about him, he wants to run over defenders. And look at the lineman running to him. You gotta love that. Yes, that is what you're looking for if you're the offensive coaching staff from this South Carolina ball club. We don't care that we've got guys hurt. We've got other guys that can fill in. We've got a dominant running back. We're gonna line up and we're gonna hit you in your mouth and we're gonna dare you to try and stop us. And that is exactly what they've done throughout this ball game. I know we expected Rattler to be more involved, but I love what I'm seeing from this offensive line. They are answering and accepting the challenge.
Two touchdowns in 1:49 to break this game wide open for South Carolina. Let's check in with Tamara.
Defensive coordinator Clayton White went up to Brad Johnson after that interception. He said, that was a really nice play. That's what I like to see. But you should have scored there. I thought you told me you played running back. What happened?
Come on. After the interception sets up the touchdown.
He tried. I give him credit. He tried to get it over the goal line.
Brad Johnson, a 6th-year senior who Shane Beamer looked him in the eye this week and said, we need a vocal leader to step up. This is your defense now. Makes a play like that. With the defense banged up, they looked shaky in the first half of this game and now in control. Another big hit forces the incompletion. Elijah Spencer jacked up by Reed.
And that's one of those plays where Spencer goes back to the huddle and tells Reynolds, hey, I know we're trying to win a football game, but don't do that. Don't throw me that pass again. I've got a safety coming up. You know, I'm wide open. Don't throw that pass again.
Parker Reynolds started this game 12 of 16. He's completed just 4 of his last 11 passes. South Carolina dials up pressure again, and it leads to another interception.
And they brought the blitz once again. They brought 6, one more than South Carolina could block. And you've got Reynolds trying to throw off of his back foot. When he's getting hit, he doesn't have enough on the football. And once again, this opportunistic defense by South Carolina makes a big play. Watch Reynolds. He gets hit, and there's nothing that he can do. He tries to get something on the football, but he just doesn't have enough because he's throwing off of his back foot and he's getting hit at the same time. He can't step into the throw because of the immediate pressure, and the ball goes off of the offensive player's hands. And once again, you've got a South Carolina defender on the backside, DQ Smith, making a big play.
And that one will count for the true freshman. Thought he had his first career interception earlier. It was overturned. He's been a ball hawk back there. And again, in a banged-up secondary, a true freshman, local native to Columbia, South Carolina.
Well, I think one of the things that I've seen from this South Carolina defense, they made some adjustments. They've been able to get pressure with those outside ends, but they've also found a blitz package that has confused the Charlotte offensive line. They're bringing 6, and when you look at bringing 6 and only having 5 to block, Charlotte has to do a better job of reading that and getting rid of the football. They're putting Reynolds in a bad position.
Rattler decides to run, tripped up at the 30. Chase Monroe on the stop. What's so interesting about South Carolina is they've turned Spencer Rattler into a game manager, which has a negative connotation to it, but in this, I'm using it as a positive. No turnovers. He has controlled and managed this game.
Well, you're here to play winning football, and whatever it takes to win the football game, that's what your game plan should be.
Running free again. Inside the 5, Christian Beal-Smith takes it for 27, and South Carolina knocking on the doorstep again.
And I think what this does for Rattler, it helps him in the long run because they're developing a running game, a rushing attack that teams that game plan them will have to prepare for.
Right back to Beal-Smith. Diving, did not break the plane. Down to the 1. Amir Sadiq kept him out of the end zone. Came in averaging 70 yards on the ground. 234 tonight. And they stick with it. Why not? Barreling forward into the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina. Three rushing touchdowns, all in this third quarter. It's broken the game wide open. Gamecocks on a 21-0 run in the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds alone.
Well, you've got movement at the point of attack by the offensive line, and all the running back has to do is follow his guys into the end zone.
It is all South Carolina. They busted this game wide open. 42-14 lead midway through the third. Now, the Spencer Rattler story is well documented, but it's worth revisiting with the success South Carolina's having tonight. The number 1 ESPN 300 quarterback goes and leads the Big 12 in passing. And then in 2021, preseason Heisman frontrunner bench for Caleb Williams transfers to South Carolina. It's been a shaky start through 3 games coming into tonight. 5 interceptions has really killed them in those first 3 games. A 1-2 start. Tonight, not flashy. Not the number 1 quarterback we're used to seeing back there, but in control. I use the term game manager, no turnovers, and he's really relied on that run game to carry this South Carolina offense.
Well, it's about wins and losses. It's not about personal numbers. It's not about personal gain. And that's what being a leader is all about. doing what you have to do to help your team win the football game. There's going to be some times where they need Spencer Rattler's arm to win football games as they progress through the season and they get into the meat of their SEC schedule. But I like the fact that he's being the leader that he needs to be tonight and doing what's necessary to help his team win a football game.
Is this a viable strategy going forward for South Carolina to keep Spencer Rattler in this, conservative play calling mold, rely on the run game? Or are they going to need him to get back to the level that they expected when they brought him in?
I think they'll need him to get back to that level that they expected when they brought him in, but I also like the fact that they're developing a rushing attack and they're doing it with a lot of players out on offense. So they're proving to themselves offensively that we can win with the talent that we're able to put on the field. So you have to find ways to win, and that's what coaching is all about. That's what game planning is all about. And they're finding a way to be successful offensively and get a start. They didn't get more than 3 points in the first quarter, but the first play of the second quarter, they got a touchdown. And they're getting closer and closer to putting more scores on early in the ball game, but you have to do what's necessary to win.
Shavon McEacher down on the Charlotte sideline, talking Spencer Rattler with Forrest Connolly right now. How different was the Oklahoma playbook to now what he's running with South Carolina?
Well, you got to look at the talent that he was surrounded with at Oklahoma. And, he was coming – think about who he played behind. He played behind Jalen Hurts. I mean, and you saw all the talent. And South Carolina has that type of talent. But once again, you've got so many players injured. I think right now you've got a dynamic duo in the making. If Rattler can get his arm going the way that we know he's capable of with the running ability of Marshawn Lloyd, I do think Jaheim Bell needs to be more involved because he's a Swiss Army knife type player. But I think Rattler has found himself something, and defenses now will have to game plan for this rushing attack. And meaning they're going to put more players in the box.
That helps Rattler.
Give Rattler opportunities to go down the field with a vertical passing game.
New quarterback in for Charlotte. Xavier Williams into the game. Chris Reynolds battled in that first half. Had the lead in this game for Charlotte. But just I think he's taken one too many hits. There's a long season ahead for Charlotte, so they get him out of the game. This game was close the entire first half. And then South Carolina 32 unanswered. Really broke this game wide open. They were down 14-10. Since then, 32 straight. And since that first quarter, Rattler was only 1 of 3. He's 11 of 15 for 145 yards. Relying on that run game that delivered 235 yards for South Carolina. Williams in trouble, trying to turn the corner, get to that first down marker. He's going to be shy by a solid 4 yards.
And the South Carolina defense once again is able to get immediate pressure on the Charlotte quarterback. And they're getting that pressure with 4 pass rushers.
Charlotte started this game keeping drives alive, too. They were 7 of 7 on third down since 0 of 3, and Will Healy's team the wheels have come off the bus in this third quarter. Almost a blocked punt. Instead, running into the kicker. There's a flag down.
Running into the kicker on the receiving team, number 13. That 5 yards results in a first down.
So that's a first down for Charlotte.
And those are mental mistakes that you cannot make. If you know you're not going to be able to block the kick, avoid the punter.
Shane Beamer's defense has to stay out onto the field. I think that's the biggest change between the first half and the second half, Forrest, is this defense really struggled to get off the field in the first half. 7 of 7 allowed on third downs. And now in the second half, they created 2 turnovers, created a punt.
Well, they become playmakers in the second half. And I think that's the thing that was missing in the first half. They were almost there. They had some hurries. They got some hits on the quarterback Reynolds towards the end of the first half. But they became more playmakers in the second half. And they made big plays. Tip balls, interceptions, sacks.
And they've only allowed 25 yards since those opening 2 touchdown drives. Reaching for the first down marker, got 5, needed 4, and Rutledge moves the chains. Right back to Rutledge, trying to spin his way for a couple of extra yards. Reed finally took him down to the secondary. It's a third quarter that has completely belonged to South Carolina. Gamecocks on a 32-0 run in this game, 22 of those 32 coming in this third quarter. Williams, and it's intercepted! Cam Smith read it so well.
Cam Smith was all over that play. The quarterback eyeballed his receiver the entire time, and you saw Cam Smith. He watched the quarterback's eyes, and he stepped right in front of the receiver.
It's the 3rd straight Charlotte drive that ends with an interception. Brad Johnson, DQ Smith, and now Cam Smith.
Well, when you've got a defense that's been able to get immediate pressure on the quarterback, they know that the quarterback is looking to make short, quick passes. And you saw Cam Smith read the quarterback's eyes and jump that route. He had DQ Smith on the backside, so he knew he had protection if he didn't get to the football.
That was Williams' first throw of the game, but it's picked off. Rattler steps up in the pocket, hits the check down. Juju McDowell on the reception.
And, you know, although that was only about 3 yards on that play, that was a good play for Rattler. He didn't try and force it. He took what the defense gave him. He sprinted to the outside, broke contain. He could not find anything, and he got the ball to a playmaker. So little things like that, little intangibles are what helps a quarterback, you know, develop confidence.
Another quick hitter. First down and more. Marion Brown, the transfer from Georgia Tech, takes it for 17. You can see there was a clear game plan coming in tonight. Make it easy, make it simple for Spencer Rattler, and it's paid off.
Well, you want to see success. There's been a lot of negative conversation about his play this season, so you want your quarterback to be successful and build on that success.
How much longer would you keep him in this game?
This will probably be the last drive that I have him in.
Throwing for a 3rd straight play, into the flat again, weaving through traffic. Juice Wells takes it for another first down, into the red zone once again. McDowell out of the backfield, pushing that pile. all the way to the 11-yard line, gain of 7.
And everything throughout this evening for the South Carolina rushing attack has been fall forward. I haven't seen a back or a ball carrier fall backwards. Everything has been fall forward.
Spencer Rattler at South Carolina will head to the fourth quarter feeling a lot more comfortable than they did at halftime. They turned a 20-14 halftime lead into a 42-14 lead. We'll see you in the fourth. 32 unanswered for South Carolina to break this game wide open as we head to the fourth quarter. 42-14, Gamecocks in front. And for a team that didn't feel too great about their offense after the loss to Georgia last week, how about this? Every single offensive drive has led to points one way or another, field goal or touchdown tonight for South Carolina.
And what's more impressive than that is they've improved their average yards rushing per game by 43 yards. They now average 113 yards a game when they came into this game averaging only 70.
242 yards rushing on the night. Rattler goes to the air here. McDowell's wrapped up.
Now, I will say this, Jay, if they do decide to keep Rattler in after this drive, I'd like to see them focus on that vertical passing game. Let's get his confidence with getting the ball down the field.
But you'd be leading the game by more than 30 points, and you want to see him air it out?
Hey, at this point, you're trying to develop your quarterback.
True.
And, you know, you're trying to prepare him for what he's going to need to be able to do when you get in bigger ball games, when you get into SEC play.
Trip rights for Rattler on a 3rd and 5. Looked right, then went left. McDowell's hit. Gio Howard, he's made a couple of great tackles tonight for Charlotte. Prevents South Carolina from converting that 3rd and 5.
That's one of those throws. Once again, when you go back to the huddle and you tell the quarterback, hey, man, you know, don't throw that.
Rattler wants to stay on the field, and Shane Beamer is going to let him.
And Jalen Nichols has to do a better job of blocking Gio Howard on the outside.
4th and 4. Rattler steps up, escapes the pressure. Surveying the field, not going to get there. Flag comes out, though. Horse collar will keep the South Carolina drive alive. Amir Sadiq took Rattler down, but this is a horse collar.
And there was no reason to do that. He was going to be running out of bounds.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 11 on the defense. Half the distance, first down.
So what could have been a turnover on downs, instead, drive stays alive, clear as day. Yep, that's an easy call for the officials to make.
Well, there was only one of two things that could have happened. Rattler was going to run out of bounds, or he was going to try and throw the ball back across his body, which would have been a dangerous throw because you've got defenders running the same way. So a poor job by the defender on that play to grab him and get the horse collar.
That would have been the first drive without any points to show for it for South Carolina. Instead, after the horse collar penalty, a 1st and goal. It's McDowell in the backfield. He gets the carry. No room to run right up the middle.
And no movement at the point of attack by the offensive line on that play.
Rattler runs back into the huddle. Wonder if they'll let him take a shot at the end zone with his arm. He's yet to throw a passing touchdown tonight, despite the 42 points. Right back to McDowell. Bouncing outside, and he scoots in. Make it 38 unanswered for South Carolina.
And you see the bounce. McDowell, he doesn't see what he likes inside. He's able to bounce it to the outside and power it over the goal line to the end zone for the touchdown.
Eight-play, 54-yard drive for South Carolina. 29-0 run in this second half. Well, plenty to be happy about if you're a South Carolina fan, particularly if you're here at Williams-Brice Stadium. Awesome atmosphere on a Saturday night in the SEC. You take a look at the conference rankings coming into the week. 8 ranked teams in the top 25, most of any conference. There's going to be some shuffling, though. Just went final over on ESPN. Texas A&M beat Arkansas, so the Hogs will probably drop down. And Tennessee, they beat Florida. So the Vols will move into the top 10. SEC on SEC crime. You're only going to see more of it as this season continues. We step aside.
Girl, you can do better, at least with your big name wireless carrier. With Xfinity Mobile, you can get unlimited for $30 per month on the nation's most reliable 5G network. They can even save you hundreds a year on your wireless bill over T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon.
Wow, I can do better.
Yes, you can.
I can do better too.
Now, do better. Switch to the fastest mobile service, Xfinity Mobile. Now with the best price on 2 lines of unlimited, just $30 a line.
The redesigned Corona Slim can, named after yours truly. Slim is one of my old nicknames. You better ask somebody. Might as well call them Snoop cans. You like that?
Williams, the backup, still in for Charlotte. He's a little more mobile than Reynolds is. Redshirt freshman out of McDonough, Georgia. He's limping too. They might have to go to the third stringer, James Foster, the transfer from Texas A&M in this fourth quarter. This just seemed like a classic case of Charlotte shot out of a cannon, grabbed that 14-10 lead, they're feeling good, and then just got worn down.
Well, I look at the defensive staff for South Carolina. They made some adjustments defensively, and those adjustments have paid off big time. They found a way to get pressure with 4, and then they found a way for their blitz package to get to the quarterback, and they've been very opportunistic with all of the turnovers that they've created.
Pressure coming. Williams wrapped up at the 30. Only got 2, needed 7.
And once again, you've got 4 pass rushers getting immediate pressure on the quarterback, 7 back into coverage. There's nowhere for him to go at the football. If he tries to force it, he puts his team in jeopardy of turning the ball over again. So he's doing the only thing that he can do as a quarterback when he doesn't have an open receiver, tuck it and try and get as many yards as possible.
Here's Van. Across midfield, there's a flag down. Van still on his feet, cuts into the end zone. There's a flag down at the 27-yard line, but Josh Van thinks he just scored a 75-yard punt return. Who's going to break it to him?
And Jay, I want to see the replay because it looked questionable to me.
Yeah, it looked clean.
It looked like
illegal
a
block in the back. On the return team, number 13.
Well, we will take another look.
From the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
And the fans do not like that official.
Now it's coming back. We have to step aside. We'll take a look when we come back. So before the break, it appeared Josh Van took a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. Forrest and I said it looked clean. We may have to walk this back, Forrest, because taking a look at the replay in the break, it looks like the officials got this right on the field.
Yeah, we definitely have to walk this back. He got the left arm around him, and he didn't maintain, a common level with him. The defender actually got in front of him, and he had his hand on the back of his shoulder. So good call by the officials.
So instead of the punt return touchdown, we get to see the backup quarterback, Spencer Rattler's out of the game for South Carolina. Luke Doty, the junior for Myrtle Beach High School. Saw some action last week against Georgia in a lopsided game that South Carolina was on the receiving end of. Actually came in and threw a touchdown in that game. I thought it might kick up some controversy. Rattler was shut out. Doty came in and scored, but the South Carolina coaches were adamant. They're not even thinking about that. They still 100% all in with Spencer Rattler.
And even if they were thinking about it, I don't think they would let us know, because you
They
want
lie to us? No. So Doty gets some game action for back-to-back weeks in the fourth quarter. And it's McDowell in at running back. I believe Marshawn Lloyd's night is done. It's a career-high 169 yards, 3 touchdowns for the redshirt sophomore. What a performance.
And I think just as impressive as the rushing attack has been, the blocking downfield by the receivers, by the running backs. I've seen offensive linemen get up to the second-level defenders. I've seen offensive linemen get down the field and cover third-level defenders. And I think that's been impressive as well.
Lloyd, who got to campus and tore his ACL, missed his freshman season, has come back and really impressed in his redshirt sophomore year. Doty takes his shot downfield, and he's intercepted. It's really the first time that we've seen South Carolina throw it downfield. Wayne Jones, the transfer from Kansas State, picks it off. That's the defensive highlight of the night for Charlotte. First time South Carolina hasn't scored. Let's look ahead. Week 5 in the SEC starts noon time. Florida's going to try and bounce back after that loss to Tennessee today. They welcome in Eastern Washington. SEC Network, South Carolina, right back here at Williams-Brice Stadium to take on South Carolina State. And then Texas A&M's got to feel really good after they just knocked off number 10 Arkansas. They take on Mississippi State at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. All games available on the ESPN app. Georgia will likely stay the number 1 team in the country. That's your nightcap at Missouri. Forrest Connolly, Jay Alter with you. There's another college football Saturday comes to a close across the country, not necessarily in the SEC. Forrest, what was your number 1 headline from the day?
I think my number 1 headline is Florida State is back.
You're a Florida State alum. We should mention that. Is that really your number 1 headline?
No. Tennessee finally got past and got that monkey off their backs, beating Florida. I think that's the big story, and it's SEC football. Tennessee, they've had some really good teams, but they have not been able to get past that hump. It's been a roadblock for them, and now they have. So sky's the limit for that ball club. It's going to be interesting to see what they do the rest of the season. I like what I've seen from South Carolina developing this rushing attack. I think this opens up the passing game for Spencer Rattler as they move forward. And Georgia, they weren't as dominant as we thought they would be today against the Kent State ball club that was game. Miami, huge loss to Middle Tennessee State at home. Van Dyke, the quarterback that people were talking about, got benched today. So it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Cristobal does moving forward, because Garcia came in the game and had some good moments. So there's just so many storylines with college football. We saw Michigan get tested for the first time.
I'll go back to Tennessee. What a fun atmosphere that was in Knoxville. College game day, and they delivered. That was a game that, if they're for real, which now they're going to be a top 10 team, they had to win today And they took care of business, as you said, against a Florida team that's gotten their number. Great catch! Elijah Spencer, the South Carolina native, went to high school 30 minutes away at Dutch Fork. Great acrobatic grab of the end zone. Charlotte's first touchdown of this second half.
And if you're Coach Healy and his coaching staff, this is what you want to see. You want your team to continue to compete. You know you're not going to win this football game, but you have an opportunity to get better. And a good job tracking the football, hand catching it, and keeping control as he went down to the ground.
Great ball, too, by James Foster. His first drive in at quarterback, the transfer from Texas A&M. He put that right on the money. And Will Healy leaves the offense on the field for a two-point attempt. Incomplete. There's a late flag that flew in.
I think it's going to be a late hit on the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 99 on the defense. Half the distance, first down.
9th penalty against the Gamecocks tonight. After the penalty, Foster stood up. Reed again with a big hit to prevent the two-point conversion. South Carolina really dialed it in defensively. They lead by 29. Tomorrow night you can watch history. Aaron Judge with an opportunity to tie the American League home run record. Sunday night baseball, Yankees taking on the Red Sox. Coverage begins 6 Eastern time with baseball tonight. Michael K. A-Rod have their K-Rod presentation over on ESPN2. I don't care what the sport is. Whenever somebody has a chance to make history, you want to watch it. Charlotte's lining up for an onside kick. Shane Beamer at South Carolina. They weren't ready for it. So Beamer has to take a timeout.
Takes the timeout.
It's going to frustrate
of the half.
The former special teams coach that his special teams were not ready for that onside kick. Well, Forrest, let's take a look at the AT&T 5G best moment from today. What was your best moment?
Well, I think Marshawn hurdling the player has to be the best moment in college football today. I mean, it was amazing, and not only just hurdle, but the score. You see guys hurling, they get tackled, but he hurdled over him and then outran the defenders to get the touchdown. Awesome play by Marshawn Lloyd.
AT&T 5G best moment of the day. Lloyd, a career high 169 yards and 3 touchdowns, but that, I agree with you. Play of the day, it might not just be play of the day in this game.
I think
it could be the play of the day in the country.
What can top that? I mean, because he cleared him.
Onside kick attempt. Great opportunity for the hands team to get a real game rep. And South Carolina has it.
You know, usually when you see somebody hurdle a defender, they put their hand on them to lift themselves up, or, you know, they touch their body. There's a body part that touches, but he clearly hurdled the player, got all the way over him, and like I said, was able to outrun the defenders to get the touchdown. You can't beat that.
South Carolina had scored on every single offensive possession when Spencer Rattler was in the game, their starting quarterback. Luke Doty, the backup came in and ruined that streak with an interception.
You have to be so hard.
Well, now he's trying to shake it off. He's still in the game, using his legs. There's a positive play from Doty.
But the ruin history.
It's true. It's what happened.
I know.
I think the positive is for an offense that really lacked confidence coming into the game.
Absolutely.
When the starters were in, you scored on every single drive.
Well, they've also discovered the rushing attack. And I thought the offensive linemen came into the game probably as fork and spoon eaters, but they've shown they can be hand eaters the way that they handled the Charlotte defense.
Okay, you're a former offensive line guy. Explain that to me.
Well,
fork and spoon versus
fork and spoon are a nice guy.
Okay, got it.
They want to have the shirts tucked in. They want to look good like the specialty players. Hand eaters are guys with the big T-shirts.
I'm guessing you were a hand eater.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wanted to be the nastiest looking person on the field because you got to think offensive lineman is the offensive line is the only position that every play is designed for you to hit somebody. You've got to go find work.
Loosen the belt a little bit and just go to work.
Absolutely. I want offensive linemen that are slobbing and just got dirt all over them. I don't want no clean guys. I want guys that want to get down and dirty in the trenches.
Now that's what South Carolina did. The rushing attack, 285 yards. Coming into the game, their season high was 92 yards. They had failed to even break 100. And now 285. In the 3 games combined, 211.
And when you've got backup offensive linemen, that's one of the challenges that you present to them.
Ball popped out. Was the knee down is the question.
One of the more difficult things to do when you've got backup linemen in the
Rolling
game.
on the field is a fumble recovered by Charlotte. First down.
Charlotte ball.
Is pass protect. So the run game is what you focus on. And I'm sure that's been a focus and a point of emphasis for this offensive line, for this offense, as they've prepared for this ball game this week. And when they get into more SEC play after this South Carolina State ball game next week, you're going to have to be able to run the football. I'm kind of wondering why they blew the play dead.
Right. If you blow the play dead, that means the knee was down. But they then went and ruled it a fumble. Take another look. Was the knee down? No, it was not.
Oh, no, but his knee was down when he recovered. That's why they blew it dead.
Chase Monroe, and his knee was down when he picked up that football.
Yes.
False start on the offense, number 76, half the distance, first down.
So Charlotte backed up to their own 1-yard line. With a backup quarterback, third stringer James Foster in the game. Just wanted to get it out of the end zone, avoid the safety.
Everything from Charlotte should be downhill. You don't want to try and stretch the play because you allow defenders in pursuit to get to the ball carrier.
Easy to look at this Charlotte team and say they will go as far as Chris Reynolds can take them. In games that Reynolds has played all 4 quarters, they're 1-0. In games he has not, due to injury, they're 0-4.
0-4, excuse me.
Yep. 0-3 coming into the day, soon to be 0-4. Free play here. South Carolina jumped, so Charlotte will get another chance on this third down.
Offside on the defense, number 76 in the neutral zone at the snap. Replay, third down.
Now, if there's a coach in the country that can find positivity with your starting quarterback going down and falling to 1-4, it's Will Healy. Always looking at the bright side. And he knows it's a long season in front of this 49ers team. Played really well in the first half, actually had a 14-10 lead. And then South Carolina poured it on in the third quarter, 22-0 run in that third quarter in a 4-minute and 20-second span, and Gamecocks just did not look back from that point on.
Well, it's been a tale of two halves. The first half, it was a clean pocket for Reynolds. He was able to pick the South Carolina defense apart. He had time to get down the field, go through his progressions, and he got what he wanted. The second half, it was a totally different story. He was under immediate pressure. He got hit. He got hurried. And they eventually got him out the ball game.
The question for South Carolina moving forward is, you looked great today. Can you do it against an SEC opponent? Next week you got South Carolina State. You hope you take care of business against them. And then it's in the throes of SEC play, and right now you're 0-2, albeit against top 10 teams in Arkansas and Georgia. But can you get the version of South Carolina that we saw tonight in conference play?
Well, when you look at their early schedule, they may have had the toughest schedule in the country when you have to play two top 10 teams.
One on the road,
yeah,
and then the reigning national champs at home.
At home. I mean, and we know Georgia's stacked. I think you take next week to continue to develop what we've seen this afternoon. You take next week to allow Spencer Rattler to work on that confidence. You take next week to develop a vertical passing game as you prepare for the SEC play that comes after that South Carolina State ball game.
And hopefully you bottle up this rushing attack and can take that with you the rest of the season.
Well, I think people need to look past. There are going to be some naysayers that said, well, Rattler didn't have a great game. He didn't put up the dynamic numbers. But I look at the cup being half full as opposed to half empty. And I look at the positives, and I think this rushing attack gives teams and opponents something else to think about now. Because you know Rattler's going to eventually get it together. He's going to eventually get into a rhythm. And you think about this, Jay. You get this type of rushing attack along with a confident Spencer Rattler throwing the football.
Very dangerous.
Now you got yourself, you're cooking with something right there.
South Carolina 3 rushing yards away from 300 on the night. More concerned with giving Doty a shot, and he takes advantage. Add another touchdown for South Carolina. Corey Rucker on a 52-yard bomb from the backup Luke Doty.
And because of that rushing attack, you're concerned with South Carolina running the football, and Doty does an excellent job of laying it out where his receiver, all he has to do is run up under the football. The ball falls right into the cradle. Boom. The ball is right there. All the receiver has to do is run, and Corey Rucker, he does the rest.
An offensive explosion to the tune of 55, could very well be 56 points for South Carolina tonight. only thing you could say to criticize the Gamecocks offensively, what has been a tremendous performance, is another slow start offensively. That first drive, you settle for the field goal instead of the touchdown. But from that point forward, boy, they flipped the page, and Shane Beamer's team has looked terrific tonight.
And I think this is great for Coach Beamer. He's been under a lot of pressure. You know, he's got a team that's dealt with a lot of injuries to key players. Not just injuries, but injuries to key players and key contributors. So for his ball club to accept the challenge and come out here and play like they've played this evening, I think it's a testament to this team, you know, doing what is necessary to win the football game.
Well, it's funny you use that word pressure, because we asked Shane Beamer in our coaches meeting, were you guys victims of your own success last year? Last year, Shane Beamer comes in, 0 expectations. Everybody thinks they'll be the worst team in the league. They make a bowl game. They win a bowl game. Then everyone this year's thinking, okay, South Carolina's back. You lose those 2 games early. We said, are you the victim of your own success? I loved his answer. Good. We want the success. We want the pressure. We want the expectations. That's what we want at South Carolina. So he invites all of that.
Well, to survive in SEC football, you have to have expectations, and you have to feel like every game is a winnable football game. When you look at the success that they had last year, and then you add a Spencer Rattler, of course there's going to be expectations to exceed what you did the previous season.
And those goals are still attainable. Right in front of Shane Beamer and this Gamecocks team. Fumble. Ball's out. Almost another turnover, but Charlotte gets it back.
And you know, it's interesting, too. We need to talk about Coach Healy and this Charlotte ball club, because they've competed. And they competed early, and they made this a ball game early. I think attrition kind of set in. But they've got to go back to the drawing board. They've got to figure out a way to protect their quarterback a little bit better. But we see what Chris Reynolds is capable of when he has a clean pocket.
Again, his team led this game 14-10 in the second quarter. Only trailed by 6 at halftime. South Carolina outscored him by 30 in the second half. Left no doubt.
But they've continued to fight. And that's a reflection of Coach Healy and his staff.
South Carolina's defense will feel really good about their performance. Again, they allowed the first 2 drives for Charlotte to result in touchdowns. Since then, they've had the clamp on them.
And it's all about game planning. It's all about making adjustments, in-game adjustments. And I also think the offense staying on the field allowed the defense that is missing a lot of key contributors to get rest. I saw a tired defense last week against Georgia in that ball game. Today I saw a defense that had the energy to get up the field and apply pressure to the quarterback because they weren't on the field all day.
Shane Beamer told us the key for this South Carolina team, not just this game, all season long, sustaining drives, both for the offense, but like you said, the defense, keeping them off the field. That's what they did tonight. When Spencer Rattler was in the game, South Carolina scored points on every single offensive drive.
And there will be a game this season when the rushing attack is not as effective and Spencer Rattler will have to beat someone with his arm.
That's why it's a team game.
Absolutely.
But tonight belonged to the rushing attack. 295 yards for Shane Beamer's running backs. Gamecocks improve to 2-2 on the season, bounce back after back-to-back top 10 defeats.